2 videos in a day. Hey, I'm in the mood for it, so hey, why not? Anyway, we're about to get out of Mount Mortar, finally. It shouldn't be too much longer, just watch, there's gonna be... Called it! There's gonna be a random encounter just right at the exit. Always happens. Always happens. Anyway, once I get out of there, I'm going to go back to Gengar as my lead, because it learns, Dream Eater, at level 39, and that's a move that I absolutely want on my Gengar. If you remember, I had it in the Crystal as well, and it's really a good move in combination with Hypnosis. So, just gonna bring Gengar in the lead, and after that, now that I'm done with Mount Mortar, I can head over there. There are a few trainers on Route 42, but they're all on the side of Mahogany, so this is why I'm not heading back to other parts of the route. You already saw those parts anyway. There wasn't a soul there. Yeah, max potion in this boulder in a corner where there would be nothing otherwise. It wasn't suspicious at all! But yeah, if you don't think Hypnosis and Dream Eater make good music together on a Gengar, just ask Delicious Cinnamon. He's gonna tell you all about how deadly that combo can be. Anyway, oh wow! Oh my god, this is the weirdest coincidence ever. I'm facing a Quillfish right now, and I was about to go into a train of thought that would lead me to talking about that thing eventually. If I only fought it a few minutes later, it would have been the most awesome coincidence ever. But I guess we're just gonna have to settle for this. Anyway, what I was meaning to talk about is that in the last video I was talking about the whole clean slate thing from Generation 5, and one of the things that went with it and was very, very unpopular, and by the way, I think this guy is the one that gives you water stones if he calls you sometimes. I'm not too sure on that, but I think that's the one. But anyway, one thing that many people hated, I and other people as well, about Generation 5 is the fact that this is my secret place, get lost you outsider. You're in the middle of everything! You're in the middle of a public road! Why do you call this your secret place? It's like if I went in the middle of the highway, see, and I would cause all kinds of swerves and crashes just because I considered this my secret place. Yeah, wouldn't really go well with the police and the judge and the prosecutor and just about everyone. But if I can just get on my train of thought here, one thing people hated about Generation 5 was the fact that it introduced no new evolutions to old Pokémon whatsoever. And that's why I and many others hope that they don't do that whole clean slate over and over again for every generation, because that means that no old Pokémon will ever evolve, and some of these still direly need evolutions. Even after Generation 4 provided plenty of these, and Generation 5 admittedly was the strongest so far in terms of Pokemon power, there are still a few others that could benefit from having an evolution. But those who do need it, that would never happen if they just started from a clean slate every time. And, you know, at least if they do what I mentioned in the last video and take the Generation 2 approach, where they would only feature Generation 5 and 6 guys up until the post-game, that they would have at least the courtesy of evolving some bad Generation 5 Pokemon to begin with. Like a Malga, for example. That thing's horrible. It's only good for trolling when it's found in the wild. It's only good, you know, for being the failure Pokemon you meet when you fail to encounter an Audino while you're grinding. But perhaps the most annoying thing about all of this when it comes to Generation 5 is the fact that, you know, of the Pokemon that they revealed before the games came out, they actually teased us into believing some of them were evolutions of old Pokemon. I think there wasn't a single soul that wasn't excited when they saw Alomomola for the first time, because we all thought Luvdisc would finally get an evolution, and that was actually mentioned in the Smog, the latest issue, which came out a few days ago. I read it today, and that was mentioned. Anyway, I'm in Mahogany right now. I'm gonna come back to this train of thought a little bit later because I kept getting interrupted by other trains of thoughts of mine. Just wonderful. Oh, it said something else. Nothing suspicious about it. No need to be alarmed. Yeah, right. Seems legit. Let's see what's inside. Okay, this guy here. What is it? What does he say? You hear wind blowing into this room? Yeah, right. Because there's a hidden staircase in this place. How do I know? Well, I've played that game a million times already, so that's why. But even there, it just reeks of, seems legit the motivationals. And this guy here talks about Gyarados being a big moneymaker. Once again, there's nothing special about that tree. Oh well, it seemed different enough. But yeah, there's a shiny Gyarados that appeared in the middle of the Lake of Rage. Even ordinary Gyaradoses are rare in that lake. But the thing is that Team Rocket, as I said, we haven't encountered Team Rocket in quite a while except for that one grunt in Ekritique. Oh, this guy here, by the way, another seems legit business. He wants to sell me a Rage Candy Bar. I'm gonna pass up on it because I don't think it does anything. I know in Black and White it's used to awaken those Darmanite and Zen mode statues in front of that are in the desert. And this guy here talking about a guy with a black cape who's investigating what's going on at the Lake of Rage. Who is he, I wonder? He's the fucking champion of the Pokemon League! He should be like this huge celebrity! And yet, this fat guy here is standing in front of the gym blocking my path because you can't go into the gym until you've solved that whole crisis with Team Rocket. But, yeah, he doesn't know who the champion of the league is. That is just... wow. What when I say usually that everything revolves around Pokemon in this world, well, apparently there are people who are ignorant enough to not know who the freaking champion is. And that bothers me, because that means that when I become the champion, no one's gonna acknowledge it. Not even the league itself. But I've made fun of that so many times in the past that I really should let it go. But it still sounds really absurd. The only little hint that you have won the championship before when you win it again is the fact that it's Professor Rowan, I believe, that has a few different lines depending on whether you've won it before or not. Oh, and Cynthia had a few different lines as well. For all that I criticize her poorly written character, she's at least one of the few who barely even acknowledges the fact that you've beaten her before. And what this guy here is saying is that, there's a red scale that you can get when you catch or defeat the shiny Gyarados in the middle of the Lake of Rage. I will, of course, be catching it because, hey, free shiny. Not complaining, especially since I haven't encountered it for, the entirety of the Platinum LP and this one as well. And I guess you could count the last few episodes of the Emerald LP, and I haven't found a shiny in these LPs since I found that shiny Zubat at the bottom of the Shoal Cave. But anyway, the Gyarados is going to drop a red scale when I fight it, and if I take that red scale to Mr. Pokemon, who's on Route 30, he's going to give me an XP share. So this is what this guy was hinting at. However, he didn't mention Mr. Pokemon because he totally forgot who it is that's interested in that sort of thing to begin with. So that's something you either got to figure out on your own, or you can just go to GameFAQs and find that out. Anyway, now that I checked out Mahogany, everything that it has to offer for the time being at least, I can come back to what I was seeing before. Basically, we were all trolled hardcore when Alomomola was first revealed because we all thought it would be an evolution of Love Disc, which makes sense. I mean, put the two right next to each other and tell me the intent wasn't there at some point. sort of under the impression that they created Alomomola early on before they decided, you know, we're going to wipe the slate clean, we're going to make a brand new Pokédex, and nothing is going to be affiliated to old guys, and as a result, you know, they decided to break the link between the two at some point during development, and the result is what we know right now, with Alomomola being, according to that one person who wrote for the Smog, a generic bulky water version 32.1. Yet, the weird thing about Alomomola is that it's based on the Sunfish, whereas Love Disc is based on something else entirely, despite the two looking very much alike. So, according to that column from the Smog, Alomomola's direct relative is not Love Disc. Instead, it's Quillfish. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier when I fought that Quillfish, that I had a train of thought that would take me all the way to Quillfish, and that was it. Early on I was talking about how Generation 5 started from a blank slate and what could happen with Generation 6, and I ended up with the biological origins of Alomomola and Quillfish. Yeah, I can go quite a ways when I start talking and, you know, stuff like that. And by the way, this guy here, this Pokemaniac, he's got the exact same lineup as the other one I fought on Route 42. A Nidorina and a Nidorino. The levels are different, I think, but that's it. Otherwise, same lineup. And Dream Eater is going to take Confuse Ray's place, which means my Gengar's moveset is now complete. By the way, I got a few people asking me why I didn't just teach it Focus Blast for the fight against Whitney. Well, with what I already had, I didn't struggle very much now, did I? And besides, it already takes long enough to gather all the coins to, learn Thunderbolt. So I really didn't want to do it again just for one fight that I didn't end up struggling at all with. By the way, I was talking about that installment of the Smog earlier on. I'm going to change my Elite to Lapras, by the way, since Gengar is already level 39. But, yeah. In that installment, there was also a very interesting column that was basically speculation on what kind of move tutors we could expect from Gray/Rainbow/Hispanic/whatever. It was very interesting because, well, there are the gimmies, there are the very likely ones, most notably the elemental punches, I think. Just about everyone expects the elemental punches to return as move tutors, maybe stuff like superpower as well. It's really interesting. I strongly recommend that you check that out. I'm going to put a link in the movie description, just in case you're interested. And one thing that I found particularly interesting is that, well, we all know Conkeldurr is one of the most devastating forces out there right now, and that's without abusing weather in any way at that, which is even more amazing. But there's also the fact that its move pool could be so much better. Just give it the elemental punches, and it could start going to town on even more stuff. That's something I like to do, because even though Conkeldurr, its design is sort of weird, and the name is as well, to say the least, it's still a damn fun Pokemon to use on a competitive team, so I'd really like to see it achieve its full potential without being hindered too much by the lack of available moves that Pokemon from the first 4 generations have access to. But when it comes to those types of moves, when it comes to spreading the goods, it always follows a very simple pattern. 4 legs good, 2 legs better. Yeah, because obviously you can't punch if you need your front legs to walk, which sucks for all those 4-legged things that would love to have the elemental punches, but don't. Now, I had a few more things to say about this column, but unfortunately, looks like we're just about out of time here. So I guess this will have to wait until next time, where I'm going to continue Route 43 and get to the Lake of Rage.